Hello. Now I've said it before, the examiner can be a pretty nasty specimen. Never more so than when he's tossing those evaluation questions in your face. The Edexcel exam board, they do it twice, don't they? Paper 1 and paper 2, both packing evaluation questions. That's very thoughtful of them. Anywho, in today's video, we're going to address the evaluation question for paper 1, though I dare say the same skill set carries over onto paper 2. So without further ado, let's jump in, start jabbing at that beast.
Now you might know that the Edexcel Paper 1 reading section lays on a 19th century fiction text for you to analyse, and today we're going to poke around in one paragraph from a short story, simply because I reckon it's easier to demonstrate the skills required for this question if we keep our text short and sweet. And I've chosen an extract from a fantastic short story writer called Ambrose Bierce, whose short story Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge as one of the best twist endings you're ever likely to read in short fiction. I mean, it's really up there with Roald Dahl's Lamp of the Slaughter and Robert Bloch's Yours Truly, Jack the Ripper. With the paper 1 evaluation question, question 4, the examiner pretty much does a cut and paste from last year's exam paper. The only bit he really changes is the stuff in red there, you know, the thing that the examiner wants you to focus on, which is usually what the writer is trying to do or show or create or describe in the text. And I've whacked in pictures of two thumbs there because you have to judge how well, or as the question has it, how successfully the writer does his job. I mean, think of it this way. In the evaluation question, the examiner is judging you on how well you judge the writer. It's as simple or as awkward as that. But just what is it that we're looking for in a text? You know, what are we going to judge? Well, you're looking for features of sight, or as I have it in one of my other videos, sight dad. You're basically evaluating how well the writer uses setting or ideas or themes or events to, in this case, show Orrin's bravery, to show some bloke's bravery. And having read the question, you might want to give your mental dictionary a shake, just to ensure that you've got a range of evaluative words and phrases to stitch into your exam paragraph. I mean, remember the question, evaluate means to judge, so words like engagingly, successfully, intriguingly, forcefully, compellingly, these are the tools of your trade. Yeah, you might want to dredge up from your brain a few of the key words, synonyms too. That means words that have the same meaning. Now I dare say you can get your level 9 just rolling out brave or bravery in response to this question, but perhaps your response is going to sound that little bit less leaden or less clunky if we apply maybe 2 or 3 other terms for it, like I've got listed on the right there. Here's our paragraph from Ambrose Bierce's very short story, The Arrest, which is about Orrin Brower, your friendly neighbourhood psychopath, killing his brother-in-law and later bashing a prison warden to make a break from jail. Now you recall the question was not simply how does the writer show Orrin's bravery, it was how well does he show it. So remember, we're judging or evaluating the writer's performance here. We've read our extract, so now let's lock on to a quotation where we can infer that Orrin is a brave little sausage. We see here that Orrin fought the law and the law lost. You know, we bashed the jailer to escape. Now I suspect if you go about biffing police officers, you're soon going to find out what the business end of a taser or a truncheon feels like. It seems more stupid than brave to me, but I guess our boy's pretty desperate. Let's start weaving now our first line of our first paragraph responding to that question, how well does the writer present Orrin's bravery? Now, because we're focusing on that quotation we've just seen describing the jailbreak is an event, so that's the feature of sight that I've identified. I've also underlined the word bravery because don't forget brave was the key word from the question. Now let's add the quotation, add the evidence. The stuff in green, of course, is our evidence, that quotation from the story. Now there's 2 canny things that I've done here. Firstly, I've embedded the quotation, which means I've kind of introduced it with 5 words of my own. The text relates how Orrin blah blah blah. This kind of creates a pleasant flow to the work that the examiner appreciates. The second thing that I've done is to cut that quotation down to size. It started life at nearly 30 words. It was a big baboon-sized quotation, far too big for our purposes. I mean, you'd look like a right lemon in the examiner's eyes if you plonked in a line that long. So we use ellipsis, that ... to edit the quotation, leaving us with the lines key information. We've made our evidence in the examiner's eyes appropriate, and you better believe he loves that stuff. It's like mother's milk to him. After the point in the evidence, of course, comes the explanation, the stuff in blue. Now this is where you really start earning your corn. Most of your marks for this question will stem from this section of the paragraph. We've got the evaluative adverb underlined in black there, that's vital, And I'm a big fan of that conjunction because, frankly, I adore it because it's a great launch pad for explaining how or why your evidence reveals that bravery. Now, if we finish here, we've done a darn good job. However, if you want to nudge your grade north to like level 8 or 9'sville, have a look at this last little flourish. The stuff in black there, I call this double dipping because we've dipped back into that quotation to see if there's any feature of language or structure contributing to that sense of bravery. Now at this point you might be yelling at the screen, hold on Anson, my teacher says you don't have to analyse language and structure in the evaluation question. And you know what, your teacher is bang on the money, you do not have to. But if it's done right, it can deepen or develop your judgment of the text. There is a line in the examiner's mark scheme, it escapes me at the moment, but if your analysis of language is linked to the question, in this case bravery, it is legitimate inclusion. It's optional, but it is something you can add to develop your response. There's the whole paragraph, unsullied by unsightly black marks, if you're so inclined to read it. The final quotation from the text we're going to look at today, linking to that evaluation question on bravery. Now don't worry, at the end of this bit, I'm just going to show you the exam paragraph. I'm not going to deconstruct it step by step the way I did last time. So, Orin goes into a wild forest, which I would argue is pretty brave. Now I don't know if you've ever been lost in a forest. I know I have, about 5 years ago when I was out running. And I guess like most blokes, I like to think of myself as a roughy-tufty type. I'll tell you, after about 5 minutes in that place, alone in the thickening darkness, I was ready to curl up and have a cry. I mean, it taps into this really primitive, primordial fear. I half expect to see a gingerbread cottage. So, old Orin is pretty brave, I guess, just plunging into the forest. As promised, there's the finished paragraph. I dare say by now you can work out why I've done what I've done. You know, why I've used words like successfully or courageous or used ellipsis in the evidence and so on. We've done 2 paragraphs. I'm guessing in the exam you want to be aiming for about 3 to 5 paragraphs in total. Focusing, of course, on good quality. That's going to secure you a good mark because you've only got about 25 minutes, half an hour to do this evaluative task. I won't bother reading this. It simply sums up all my ramblings for the last few minutes.
And we're done with the evaluation question. Consider that beast well and truly jabbed to a jelly. We've looked at some bomb-proof dodges for squeezing out the highest marks in that most irritating, most irksome of exam questions. It only remains for me to wish you the very best in that exam hall.